set. We're about to go racing here, folks. The drivers are in position. It'll be the first to punch off will be Neveu. He's waiting to get on the throttle, and he does. Green, 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 and a massive start for Thomas Neveu. He goes out at least 2 to 3 car length. Looks to me like he caught Jace Denmark napping a little bit there into the position. They'll work their way through turn 1. Cross your fingers so they get through cleanly. Looking good so far. Drivers in position. They got to get through 2 and 3. Very tight quarters. It gets very tight coming through there. As you can see here, the concrete canyon, we call it here at the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. They'll span out a little bit wider coming down into 4. A couple drivers trying to get to the inside. 4, 5, and 6, very tight as well. This opening lap, if they can get through cleanly, we should be good to go. Drivers doing a tremendous job so far. Over to the back part of the racetrack, turns 8 and 9. One driver a little wiggle in the back there. That might have been Jones. But everybody in position. Look at these guys fighting. Simon Sykes trying to work his way up a couple of spots. Sykes aggressive on the opening circuit. Out front, though, Neveu with the lead. Thomas Neveu, a fantastic start to get himself into the lead. A winner last year at Road America as a rookie. He is a sophomore here this year and has full intentions on challenging for the championship. One of the top young karters in the country as well. And he is dialing things in. Opening corner through turn number 12, and we are underway. We'll give you a full field rundown when they come back across the line. Thomas Neveu, your leader. Jace Denmark second. Billy Fraser up into third. Pajoy Gard runs 4th. Miles Rowe 5th. Simon Sykes in 6th. Michael D'Orlando 7th. A couple spots up for D'Orlando. Jagger Jones in 8th. Spike Kohlbecker in the 9th spot. 10th is Burke. 11th is Christie. 12th Weir. 13th is Douglas. What a good start for Jacob Douglas. Getting himself into position here. Nicky Hayes up a spot, and it's Frederick Lund, Euro Lee, Victor Anderson, Jackson Lee, and Jorge Garcia. Todd,
can I exhale now?
Yeah.
So that was a great, fantastic start. Great job by these USF 2000 drivers. We talked about corner 1 with the Indy Pro Series. Everybody got through smoothly, and we saw it again here through the first few corners. A terrific start by Thomas Neveu, who accelerated away at just the right moment as the green flag was displayed and caught Jace Denmark. Not napping, but it was just, it was a great move by Thomas Neveu as opposed to a bad move by Denmark.
That's it, really. It looked like he caught him napping because he was rolled up, punched off, and it was just really a textbook start for Thomas Neveu.
Denmark, of course, has closed back up. It is a very tight battle up towards the front of the field, just under 4/10 of a second between first and second place, so second back to the third place position of Fraser. But this is what we expect to see. Now that everyone has settled in for a lap or two, we'll see battles throughout the field, as we did in the Indy Pro Series as well, through 4th, 5th, and 6th, through 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. We have close battles and fighting throughout this series.
Indy Pro 2000 drivers running 25 laps. Our USF 2000 competitors here will be a 20-lapper. Of course, this event brought to you by Cooper Tires, the Cooper Tires Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Again, big fight further back. Drivers looking for positions. And really, again, you know, the coaches, the drivers, team managers will talk about the fact that this is a race where you come and you try to survive, especially if you're new to the series. Get a feel for this racetrack. You're going to be back next year. You'll go for race wins. It's so tough to do as a freshman in this series to come in here and really roll the dice. You're better to give yourself a little more room on the exit, maybe not use up all of the pavement out to the wall. A little bit of breathing room. You can make a mistake. You're still not going to get in trouble. This is a race where it's all about experience and come home with 2 quality finishes.
And that's what we see, the experienced drivers, those that are not rookies, up towards the front of the field at the start of this race. 6 of 7 rookies were towards the back of the field at the start of the race. And understandable so, that they're just entering in and getting experience. But that's why you see Neveu, Denmark, Gard, Rowe, and Jones, who is the rookie, by the way, but has the pedigree and a lot of experience up towards the front.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Jagger Jones, again, we talked about it in qualifying. 3rd-generation driver for Jagger Jones. Of course, his grandfather, the great Parnelli Jones. All that pedigree, all that legacy at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And, of course, his dad, P.J. Jones, as well, a very talented and highly acclaimed race car driver. Jagger coming out of karts, didn't follow into the open wheel ranks like so many other young drivers, went stock car racing, super late model racing, and did extremely well at that. I was thrilled to see him show up at New Jersey Motorsports Park last year and say, hey, I need to test with a team. Who should I be talking to? And he had already made contact with Cape Motorsports. We see him here this year. I'm thrilled to have him. He's a great young man, and I'm telling you, he's gonna be strong this year once he gets settled in. He's not running top 5 right now, but he will be challenging for race wins by the end of the year, I would expect.
This is the learning and education process that is beginning for Jagger Jones, an accomplished driver leading up to this, but this is a different series that he's come into than something that he's used to. So it's understandable he'd slip back a couple of spots where you see an experienced driver like Michael D'Orlando is in his 3rd year in this series, who's gained a couple of spots in the start. And I'm interested to see how he does. I was a little surprised to see him as far back as he was after qualifying, but what can he do during the race?
And I found out that there was an issue with the car at the end of qualifying. I'll get a confirmation on exactly what it was, but something in the electronic side of the car that had hindered him from finding fast laps. Now he's got to go to work here in the race. We're only a quarter of the way in right now. Michael D'Orlando starting to push on the D-Force number 12 of Bajoy Garg as they work their way to turn number 9 through turn 9 rather, right on the gearbox right now. And Todd, we talked about it in the Indy Pro 2000. It's hard to pass here. Turn 1, turn 4, turn 10, but the passes you get is when you put so much pressure on a driver in front of you, they make that mistake. Because this place is a track where it's easy to make a mistake, to overcook a braking zone, to get on the throttle too early. You have to be so precise that you can force that mistake.
This is why during the rest of the lap, a pass may be completed at turn 1, turn 4, turn 10, but it's set up well in advance. It takes a time to establish yourself, get the attention of the driver ahead of you, and force that mistake. It could take you a half a lap, sometimes more, before you can complete that pass.
That is a great point. Not all the passes happen where they happen. You're setting a driver up. You sell them that dummy in one corner where you dive to the inside, they block. Next time they block again, and you've got the big run to the outside. So it's all about strategy here. Running behind is tough as well because you do get that aero wash. You lose the air off the front wing. You're going to hear a lot about that from the NTT IndyCar Series drivers when they tuck in behind the gearbox. You lose all that air off the front wing. No air on the front wing means aerodynamics do not work. You lose that front grip, and that's when you have the entry and mid-corner understeer where the car will push away, and you're not able to get back on the throttle. So we'll talk more about that, but I think we're going to see a battle for P5 here pretty soon. Good fights further back as well. That was fun to watch. That was Jackson Lee, Frederick Lund, Yeruli, Victor Anderson, Jorge Garcia involved as well.
Thomas Naveau remains out front of Jace Denmark for the front of the field. That lead is just over 0.5 of a second. Fraser, Rowe, and Garg are the top 5. D'Orlando, though, closing in on that 5th position.
Indeed, looking at lap times as well. Almost everybody in the top 6 turning 1:13.4s. Everybody really almost the same lap times, which is so. It really shouldn't be surprising, to be honest, because they qualified all within 0.04 of a second. So let's be real. These guys are so evenly matched right now. It's going to take a slip up. It's going to take a minor mistake to allow somebody else to find a way through. It's Thomas Naveau, your leader. Jace Denmark in second. Billy Fraser third. So how about Canada, America, New Zealand, 1, 2, 3, part of the international field that we have in this year's Road to Indy. Miles Rowe having a strong run here as well for Pabst Racing. The African-American out of New York. Winner last year in New Jersey in that wet weather race, came on at the end. A huge victory for Miles Rowe. Talented young driver with a lot of charisma off the racetrack as well. I don't know that he has the budget for the entire year right now, Todd, but this is about, hey, listen, I want to go racing. I want to show what I got, and I'll keep digging to try to find the rest of the budget.
And that's what drivers will do is, okay, I'm signed, and he's with Pabst Racing this year, an established team that understands the series, so he's making his attempt to try to get in, show what he can do with the best equipment and one of the top teams that's been around for a long time. Maybe it presents an opportunity to run the full year.
And last year, a single car effort with Force Indy as well. Of course, Force Indy's moved to Indy Lights now with Ernie Francis Jr., but it was a one-car effort. Rookie driver, rookie team, you know what I mean? Just didn't have all the tools around him that he needed to step up. That's the same thing with Trey Burke, who's now running inside the top 10. Trey Burke, a young driver out of Texas, who came up through the junior sprint car ranks, ran midgets, and said, hey, I want to follow in the footsteps of my hero, A.J. Foyt. This guy did midgets, but he did a road course racing too. Deal goes together. They do a program last year, but they just didn't have the right people around. Jeff Sinden runs that program, and he knows what's going on in terms. He's been around the IndyCar paddock forever, but these cars are so temperamental. They were able to get an engineer, the right mechanic, brought Sage Karam in to coach Trey as well, and he feels so much different out of the gate. This is a guy we used to see at the tail of the field. Now he's running in the top 10.
Having Sage Karam, who had great success in the road to Indy as a voice.
Our first ever champion.
He was a fantastic driver, so understands what it takes to have success at different levels of the road to Indy as well, and how to make the progress through the system.
Yeah, champion, our first ever USF 2000 champion, then would go on, of course, to win the championship in Indy Lights as well. So a tremendous driver, multi-time Indy 500 starter with Dreyer Reibold. Good to have Sage in the paddock with us and working with young Trey Burke. Half a second to lead right now for Thomas Nauvoo. Will the young Canadian find himself with a race win? We're closing in on the halfway point now. 8 laps down, a couple laps before we get to the halfway point of what will be a 20-lapper here in the Cooper Tires Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Of course, back at it again tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock start time for the Indy Pro 2000 category. Our only action for the road to Indy tomorrow. We're back again then on Sunday in the late morning before the NTT IndyCar Series are on track for USF 2000 to cap off their doubleheader. So, you know, anytime we're at these events, whether it's USF 2000, Indy Pro, or Indy Lights, it's the future stars of the NTT IndyCar Series. This is where they all came through. Rinus VeeKay, USF 2000, Indy Pro, Indy Lights, was an Indy Pro 2000 champion a couple of years ago.
Kyle Kirkwood, the other example, too, who is a champion at all 3 levels. Yeah, and 31 of 50 races, extraordinary. But this is the kind of teaching and development that goes on in the road to Indy, and we're seeing that the drivers gain the benefit as they make their way through.
One of the things we've started this year, we haven't had a chance to mention here yet, and we'll do that throughout the weekend, our new USF Juniors program. So a brand new program that Anderson Promotions is putting together, USF Juniors, essentially a development program for drivers to move into USF 2000. We're using the Ligier chassis, and we'll have a 6-event program this year for USF Juniors. Drivers anywhere from 13 to 16, 17 years of age, developing them in our road to Indy culture, how we do things. We'll have the AMR safety crew there as well. Safety always high on our radar. So I'm excited to see that program happen, because these are the kids in USF Juniors we're going to be talking about for the next 6, 7, 8 years. It's going to be a great program, and obviously very tightly connected to the road to Indy.
And it's sometimes having an extra step in there is the right move as well, because there are drivers that, whether they come from karts, whether they come from different disciplines, it's a struggle to make the leap into the road to Indy. So having this program that will allow them to develop and move up at their own pace will only be a benefit. So it's a great job by Dan Anderson and his group, who have just done so much to develop drivers.
And the motivation behind it, Todd, was because our USF 2000 program, which was essentially the entry level to the road to Indy, has got so competitive that we saw drivers coming out of the Lucas Oil School of Racing Formula Car Series. They're our official school. You win their championship Formula Car Series, you get a scholarship into USF 2000. Those drivers were coming in and doing well, but they weren't right up front because they needed one more year of experience, because we're so competitive in this class. So for next year, the winner of the Lucas Oil School of Racing Formula Car Series, that scholarship will take them to USF Juniors, a brand new car coming for 2023. The Halo, essentially the same tub as the USF 2000 car, a detuned engine. It's going to be probably 4 or 5 seconds slower than the USF 2000 car. It'll be an ideal step out of karting, out of the Lucas Oil School, out of Formula 1600, into USF Juniors, into USF 2000.
Halfway through race number 1 of the USF 2000 series, Thomas Nauvoo remains out in front by 0.6 of a second. Denmark, Fraser, Rowe. Have maybe a chance at getting up into the top 5 a lap or 2 ago.
Yeah, again, coming down the front straightaway, you can see that Jace Denmark not done at all. And I'll tell you the move that we missed, Miles Rowe on the last lap, able to get by Billy Fraser. So trouble there for Fraser. I'm not sure what happened to Billy, but he lost a spot. So Miles Rowe goes up into 3rd. Billy Fraser in 4th. Bejoy Garg now 6th spot. 7th is D'Orlando. So look at this stack up here. Rowe, Fraser, Garg, D'Orlando, all within about a second of each other. That is 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. We'll keep an eye on that battle as we have 9 laps remaining here. Miles Rowe, though, has made it 2 Pabst Racing drivers in the top 3. Still a long way to go in this race, but man, what a good run here for Miles Rowe. Started 4th, kind of slotted into that position, but fought his way back forward to get the 1 spot. And this is the battle for the lead right here, coming through the kink. Out of 9 over to 10. And we have ourselves a battle. That's the leaders right there. Only a length between Jace Denmark and the leader, Thomas Neveu.
So this is the opportunity that Denmark is looking for. He's closed up within, and now he'll try to get Thomas Neveu to pay attention to him behind him, as opposed to focusing on the corners ahead. And that's what is a driver who's looking to gain position wants to do. You'll see him move to the left. You'll see him move to the right. You'll see them try to pull up as close as they can in some of the corners. Try to distract that driver. Try to get his attention. If you make a mistake, that creates an opportunity.
And you can see coming into turn number 1 there, maybe a little more of a shallow entry, a more early turn in for Thomas Neveu, wanting then to get into the head of Denmark as well. Say, hey, listen, I'm not going to open the inside of the door for you. You're going to have to earn this thing. I'm going to start fading my way into the entry. There's so much exit in turn number 1 that it's not like you're really having to roll through there, because there's exit speed. You're able to drift the car out and get it back in for turn number 2 quickly enough. So there's your lead through 8 and 9. Ooh, a little wiggle there. That was the front. That was the car coming over top of the crown of the road there and getting light a little bit. And you see the correction there by Jace Denmark. You wonder what some of these kids get from karting. It's reaction times.
100%.
Yeah.
That's where the quick hands come from, because you have to react that quickly to save it, to correct it, just as Jace Denmark did there. Just a little bobble, but then the quick hands snap it back and you're back under control. It will have cost him just the smallest little bit of time, and that's the issue that he'll have, but a quick correct by those fast hands.
You know, anytime I see that, I kind of think about Marco Andretti out in the rain qualifying session at Detroit, where he was the only guy out there, and everybody's like, he was on board, absolute master, and the car kept flicking on him. And these young drivers get that from karting, man. They understand that. The reaction time, those cars are so active in terms of the steering input. When you're running in karts, there's no suspension, so it's not a soft rollover. You're literally completely active, and that was a really strong adjustment there. Here's a fight a little further back. Let's pick that up. I think that is Simon Sykes and Spike Kohlbecker. What a good scrap. That is, I think, for, I want to say 7th and 8th. Simon Sykes in the Legacy Autosport number 19 and Spike Kohlbecker in the Turn 3 Motorsport number 33. That's the fight there through Turn 9. Another scrap right behind them as well with Burke and Jones. I like this. This is good racing right now.
This is what we want to see. This is what we expect to see and usually do in the USF 2000 series. Equally matched cars. There's that battle again between Kohlbecker and Burke again.
I think Kohlbecker may have fallen back a little bit. Not sure what happened there. We'll try to pick him back up here again. The Cape Motorsports cars are essentially exactly the same. They're not making it easy on us at all this year. The complete white cars coming across the line. Again, let's say we're going to put lap number 14 in the books, so 6 to go. Thomas Neveu is the leader. It'll be Jace Denmark back by a half a second. Rowe runs 3rd, Fraser 4th, Gard 5th. Go back another 1.5 seconds. D'Orlando's fallen back a bit. It's actually Simon Sykes now on D'Orlando. So Sykes has been able to get away from Kohlbecker and is closed now up on Michael D'Orlando. So driver into pit lane. That looks to be like the number 9 of Jose Garcia. So Jose Garcia into pit lane for Jay Howard driver development. But wow, we got ourselves a couple of battles forming up here now. Drivers going to watch themselves. Fraser has Gard closing up a little bit. Fraser put a good lap in there last time by. He's 2.2 seconds behind Rowe, but Billy Fraser, who again only got 5 laps into practice, did a good job in qualifying, and now finds himself top 5. This is going to be a good start for a second-year driver in this series. He didn't have the best of years last year, had some ups and downs for Fraser. But if he can get out of here with a couple of top 5s, he should be absolutely pleased and really fueled with momentum for the rest of the season.
And that's sort of the unofficial plan with USF 2000 series, is come in, gain some experience, get the understanding of the series, understand and learn the cars better. And as you make your way through the second season, then you have the knowledge that comes in. You know the tracks, you know the cars, and that's the time where you start to improve your performance and really challenge for race wins.
Exactly that now. We're seeing that blue and orange machine of Simon Sykes. Pretty easy to pick up on the racetrack. Again, running now in that 7th position. We'll watch his lap times. Didn't get a good lap time in there. Fell back to a 1:14.2, almost a full second slower than D'Orlando. We had closed up to within a half a second, but not a good lap there for Simon Sykes. Like he might have had a tank slapper somewhere, a little mistake. There's, as he's rolling through turn number 7. This is this tight little area. When you do the track walk, Todd, I'm not sure if you got a chance to walk it or get on a golf cart. It's insanely tight coming through that particular part of the racetrack.
Well, imagine sitting on the ground and going through there, and it feels even tighter because that's what the drivers see.
Yeah.
They're essentially sitting on the ground, and they have 3-foot concrete walls beside them, and you have to thread the needle, in a sense, to get through there because you're also trying to get through there quickly, which is the tricky part. And yes, I have walked through and ridden through, and it's a challenge sometimes.
And again, through that corner, you're really coming off the one apex, shooting by, then diving back in to get in the car straight. So you can get that braking done in a straight line, then rotate back into the corner. This is a very challenging racetrack. And again, it's tough for these USF 2000 drivers as the first race of the season. It'd be nice for us to take them somewhere with maybe a little more forgiving, right? Some runoff, but it's the start of February. Everybody loves St. Petersburg. This is where we are with the road to Indy. So let's put it this way. I don't know that the drivers will have a bigger challenge than the one they do the first time they get a green flag.
Still Thomas Nauvoo out front. He has led from the drop of the green flag. Jace Denmark is close to under half a second away in second. Rowe, Fraser, and Gard complete the top five. Michael D'Orlando sixth.
Looking at fastest lap times, that belongs to Miles Rowe, 113.1. That not enough, I believe. Yeah, everybody was down into the 112.7, so nobody on fastest laps here. Again, everybody starting this race, I believe, on the scuff tires they used in qualifying. They'll all have a fresh set for tomorrow. The question is, we're getting to the end here. I don't see anybody making a pit stop to come in to try to find more speed. So, indeed, not the kind of strategy we saw in Indy Pro 2000. But again, laps winding down. 3 laps to go for Thomas Nauvoo. Will the young Canadian out of Quebec, Canada, get yet another win? Almost a surprise victor last year at Road America. He stepped up big time, but I always do say this. If there's a race when the drivers are going to step it up in USF 2000, the rookies, it's Road America. We've gotten through St. Pete, Barber, Indy, the Oval. Road America is that 5th race where they're like, oh, I'm pretty comfortable now. I'm not scared of you. So,
and you're in a setting where you have lots of open area. You have a beautiful facility at Road America, and it's a track that so many drivers enjoy racing on. It's not surprising that you might get a first victory there.
And a lot of these drivers hit that track a lot on iRacing as well. So they've got tons and tons of laps. Some of the other facilities, like I say, Petersburg isn't on iRacing. Now, they can use the Symmetric Driver Lab that we have, the on-track sim here. We had a lot of guys in that because Greg DeGeorgis was able to build this track in his simulator. We have that trackside at all of our events, and a number of racers leverage Greg's from Symmetric's opportunities there. But otherwise, St. Petersburg's not a track you can practice online either. So, white flag will come next time around. 2 laps remaining here right now for Thomas Nauvoo. It's only 0.4 of a second. Here's a fight a little further back. Yeah, that's going to be Weir and Hayes coming across the line. No, Christian Weir. Oh, these guys are going at it right now. Oh, do we have an opportunity? Almost a pass. I think Miles Rowe coming through. We may have had a pass for turn 2. I think Denmark tried to go to the inside. That's the top 3. They are on top of each other here with 2 laps to go. Down into turn number 4. Nauvoo locks up the right front. That might be Rowe now into the 2nd spot. Look at this. Challenge aggressively. You don't want to throw it away on the opening race of the year, though. That's Simon Sykes coming through there from 7th. That's the leaders through 8 and 9. Stack them and pack them, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Is nose to gearbox. Look at this battle. They'll work their way out of turn number 9. We're going to cap this things off. No pass down into turn number 10. But we're definitely setting up for a crazy final circuit for USF 2000. Thomas Nauvoo still leading the way. Flat out through turn number 11 there. Joel Miller said in the USF 2000 car, you can be sipping a macchiato going through that corner flat out because the car's perfect. It's 12 that's tough. Here comes the battle right now. Miles Rowe has gone to 2nd. Can Rowe grab the victory? He's going to try to go to the bottom of the racetrack. There's paint. There's no rubber down there. They'll go into turn number 1. They'll lock it up. Rowe goes to the inside. Coming out of turn number 1. They're side by side again through turn number 2. Who's going to come out of 3? Oh, the contact! Both drivers are off! Rowe and Nauvoo. Contact in turn number 2. They didn't want to give it up, and the leaders have made contact. Jace Denmark is going to take that lead. Yellow flag flying, and contact made by 1st and 2nd, battling it out of the final circuit. Red flag has come out. This race is going to be done. And I have to believe that Jace Denmark will get the victory as the leaders take each other out. Coming through turn number 2. Todd, what did I say? You do not want to throw it away. Look at this. That is a massive impact for Miles Rowe. You can see he just put the visor up. That is great news, but that car is wrecked for Miles Rowe. And for a driver with not much budget, you had to give that one up. That was a side-by-side move. Rowe went to the inside, went through the corner a little bit. Oh, I feel for Thomas Neveu. He went back to the inside on the over-under, and they were side-by-side coming through two. Neither driver wanted to give it up, and that is some hard impact. The entire front side of the car for Miles Rowe making contact. I'll say this right now. Let's take the opportunity. One of the biggest parts of this road to Indy, the same thing will be said for USF Juniors, are those guys right there in the blue and white. The AMR safety crew, the absolute best in the business, and he climbs out of the race car, folks. Miles Rowe out of the race car and wondering what just happened. He was looking at his second race where you look at the half shaft sitting down here. That is a Tatis wrecking yard in turn number 3. We're going to see a replay of this, guys. So those of you at home, hold on. Those of you here trackside, have a look at the big boards. We're going to give you the replay. As I said, they were battling. It was an over-under. Here they come through the corner. Does something happen to the inside? No, that was just Miles Rowe, I think, not giving it up on the outside. You can see that trying to come through turn number 2. And how does Jace Denmark get through unscathed? You can see the damage already. There's going to be secondary contact here into the wall for Thomas Neveu. Everybody else coming through. The rear wing of Rowe's car sitting there. That's going to move Bajoy Garg up a couple of spots. That is Billy Fraser potentially up another spot. Fraser's going to finish second, I think. Billy Fraser. Bajoy Garg third. Michael D'Orlando fourth. And Simon Sykes up into fifth. Trey Burke into sixth spot. That's a crash deep in the field. That was one of the D-Force cars making contact with Rowe's wing. But, you know, coming out of that corner like that, when the driver's kind of in front of you, you got to hope that you got to give some room.
It just looked like the left front of Rowe and the right rear of Thomas Neveu had just enough to catch them both and collect them both, and then they were sliding off into the concrete and both out of the race.
I'm not the guy behind the wheel. I'm not a professional race car driver, so I'll step back a little bit. This is what this is, Todd. This is a couple of young drivers who believe that they have their future hanging in the balance, right? They've got to win races. Miles Rowe, we talked about it, doesn't have a full budget for the season. I got to expect the budget might be gone right there because I think he believed that I got to win this race. Made that deep move down to the inside. And the one thing about coming to the inside at turn number 1, nobody goes there. There's no rubber there. It's dirty. That's why he slid through. I'll tell you, I'm going to head to victory lane because we still got hardware to pass out. That was a wild finish here in USF 2000. Todd, I'll let you wrap things up here trackside with the full results. But, man, I'll tell you, let's just cap things off. We could have asked for a better – it almost went green to checker.
It almost did, except for that final lap crash between Rowe and Thomas Neveu. But what an unbelievable first event. And, yeah, you're right. That car is probably done for Miles Rowe.
I'll leave the unofficial results to you, and then I'll see you in victory lane.
All right, we'll hear from Rob momentarily as he will talk to Jace Denmark, who found himself out at the front of the field with that last lap crash between Miles Rowe and Thomas Neveu. Both out of the cars, both are okay, but the cars did not complete their way around. As we continue to look through the finishing order, it was Garg and D'Orlando who wound up third and fourth, and Sykes, who comes away with a fifth place finish, kind of handed to him. Simon Sykes, who was trying to find his way forward, but wound up finishing in the top 5. As you see, Miles Rowe and Thomas Neveu slip all the way back to 17th and 18th. Jorge Garces was exited the track early, came down pit lane and did not return. But what a frustrating end to the day for Miles Rowe and for Thomas Neveu, both who felt that they needed and wanted that win, as Rob was telling us about Miles Rowe, who doesn't have much of a budget, hoping for a big success and hoping to complete with a race victory. Instead, it's Jace Denmark who comes away with the win, who battled hard with Thomas Neveu through much of this race. Neveu got away with a pretty good start and was usually about half a second or a little bit more ahead of Jace Denmark. But then it was Miles Rowe who managed to find his way around Denmark, and the two of them climbed up close to Thomas Neveu in the closing couple of laps. And then Miles Rowe made that move to the inside, started coming up.